carissima amica, la bella ragazza Iana, racconta tutte cose nuove che stanno succedendo nella prossima versione di DDD. Credo che sarà abbastanza interessante per voi. Io vi lascio e vado a vedere sopra anche masterclass DDD come prosegue. Ovviamente vi lascio a miglior man che esiste. Di nuovo Iana Andreeva che già conoscete tutti. Grazie.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope you're enjoying the event so far. And we're going to continue with the next presentation called Puree Next. What I'm going to talk about today is basically about an overview, who we are, what we do, how we do it, the latest developments in our company, what happened this year and what's going to happen in the near future. So let's get started. As I mentioned, this is my agenda. It's a short one. And who we are? Well, we help artists and designers visualize creative ideas in the best possible way. So this is our goal. And what a better way to show you who we are than playing our latest showreel. continue. And our brands. So not everybody probably have heard about Chaos Group, but everybody have heard about V-Ray. So this is our main product, but not the first one. Actually, the first one is our Phoenix FD. How many of you have heard about it and know what is it? Okay, so Phoenix FD is our fluid and dynamic simulator available for 3 Studio Max and for Maya. Then we have the VR scans, which is pretty much a new product, and you already know about it because I have talked about it yesterday. And the PD player is very small but also handy too to preview all kinds of images, also EXRs, HDRIs. You can play sequences of images with that. You can make a basic compositing with the PD player, also make some comparison between multiple images, having them all on the screen. This year was a big year for us because of many reasons, and one of them is that Render Region and Corona joined the Chaos Group family, which is really a good thing, and we are happy about that, because now we can join forces into the development process of the products and bring to the market the best possible rendering solutions for you guys, so you can choose what is better for you and just use it. Yeah, so where are we located? So Chaos Group has 4 offices worldwide. Our headquarters is located in the beautiful capital city of Bulgaria, Sofia. And also we have offices in LA, Tokyo, and Seoul. And now I can tell that we have an office in Prague where the Render Region guys are, and Corona guys are located. Yeah, so this is Chaos Group, and our users in the architectural industries are quite a lot. You can see here huge names like Gensler, Foster & Partners, Big, Herzog & Maroon. Then we have D-Box, Mir, Brick, and many more. So in the architectural visualization, V-Ray is pretty much an industry standard. And yeah, again, what a better way to show what people do with V-Ray than showing some really nice photoreal renders. So here we have Tomorrow and Gensler, then Uniform, an amazing visualization as well. And of course, V-Ray is also used in interior designs, so here an example of that. And thanks to the biggest VFX companies out there, we have, you can see them, so ILM, Meta Studios, Blur, MPC, and yeah, many more. We have now more than 160 feature films in our portfolio where you can see sequences rendered with V-Ray. And again, a big year for us because V-Ray and actually Vlado won a technical Oscar, which is also a huge thing. And Vlado is the first Bulgarian guy who won an Oscar, so we are really proud about that. Also, V-Ray has found in the advertising, automotive and design industries, and huge companies like Toyota, Tesla. Yeah, you can see they are rendering and relying on V-Ray to visualize their beautiful products. Here, a couple of examples of that. So this is Porsche by Andre Matos, again rendered on the GPU. And V-Ray portfolio. So here you can see how the company has evolved during all these years based on the products. And our first product is V-Ray for 3 Studio Max, official release 2002. And our latest V-Ray product is V-Ray for Revit, released last year. So not only the company has grown, like at the beginning there were only 2 guys, now we are more than 200, so I think 250 worldwide. So, but also the product portfolio has grown quite a lot. And we have V-Ray for more than 10 different platforms available. Our partners, we have strong partnership with you can see with the biggest companies out there like Autodesk, The Foundry, Trimble, NVIDIA. We partner with all them and develop tools together. And here the question, why V-Ray? Why people choose the rendering engine? And here are the answers. So, quality. So many artists rely on V-Ray to render photoreal imagery and animation during so many years. And it's super powerful rendering engine. We have a wide feature set, which makes, for me, V-Ray the most flexible renderer out there. Then speed, V-Ray is fast, and this is one of the reasons why V-Ray became so popular at the first place back then, because of the faster ray tracing. So you don't need to wait a lot of time, but rather being creative and explore your vision. Control, as I mentioned, we have so many features that you can be really flexible in your pipeline. This is why also V-Ray is used not only by freelancers, but also by smaller and bigger companies in all the industries. Oh, the project will automatically shut down after. Yeah. Just. Is this one? No. Probably this is the wrong one. Okay. Dimitri! You have 20 seconds to come.
Press something. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Grazie Dimitra.
Io pensavo di mettervi una bomba a scappare, no? Come in film Lost, se non piglia ogni tot di tempo.
Alright guys, thank you very much. Integration. So V-Ray is seamless integrated into the 3D platform, so it's not a separate tool where you need to export your geometry and shade and light some in additional program. It's seamless integrated into Max, Maya, and all other softwares. It's part of them, which makes again the workflow much easier. Then, yeah, industry standard. I mentioned it already. So many users we have which rely on V-Ray. Community and support. We have multi-level free support. So if you have some technical issues, we have a department for that, which are going to support you with some technical issues. If you have some other questions regarding your 3D scene, you can send us your 3D scene, so our 3D support can take a look into your scene and tell you what's going on and how you can improve it. Then community, we have released community, and also the whole development process is community driven, meaning that if many people want the same thing, that sooner or later this comes into V-Ray. And I bet you already know it, but still. And on this slide, I just want to point out and to show you how V-Ray has evolved during all these years. And here, as you can see, 2006, with all the service packs of V-Ray, so version 1 with all the service packs, we have a bunch of features, and those are, of course, the highlights. Then in 2010, version 2 with all the service packs, you can see that we are doubling the amount of features over there. Then 2014, version 3 came out, and the amount of features, we are tripling it. And since then, you can see each year we are releasing 2 service packs. Again, with a lot of new features and functionality, which will improve your workflow. And all those service packs are for free. And I bet you know this as well. Yeah, so this is our aim per year to release 2 service packs full with new features and functionalities. And let's take a look at some of the key features during the latest releases, which help us to create our beautiful renders easier and faster. And the first one I want to mention is the V-Ray denoiser. I have talked about it yesterday a bit. Here I will mention it once again because for me this is a really nice tool which will help us to speed up the rendering quite a lot. And we have built-in denoiser tool which will remove the noise automatically at the end of the rendering process, and we can speed up the rendering up to 50%. It works with still, it works with animation, so it's a really cool thing. How this can be used is just we need to add the render element over here, and we have also a presets for the denoising, but you can adjust this after the rendering process as well, because there is an update button. So, yeah, it works with buckets, it works with progressive rendering. If you're not happy with the denoising effect, you can go here, change it, click the update button, and without any need to pre-render the image, the denoising effect will be changed in here. Also, we have a custom denoising. That means you can define by yourself the strength and the radius for the denoiser. And here you can see the differences. And one big advantage of the V-Ray denoiser is that it's calculated on the CPU, which on the GPU, which makes it up to 10 times faster than denoising on the GPU. On the CPU, oh god. Yeah. And also it works with the progressive rendering, meaning that you can take a look at the denoising effect while rendering and decide by yourself when it's enough and when to stop it. Also, we have a standalone denoising tool, which will help you to denoise sequences because it supports in-between frame blending, which will get rid of the noise and will get some shimmering effects, like in this case here, if you take a closer look to that from the GI. So. And if you haven't tested it yet, I really encourage you to do so and see the results. Let's move on. Adaptive lights. This is something which we have developed in our office. And again, it came from a client. So the party, I don't know if you know the guys, they have a GPU pipeline. And they were talking with our GPU development team, and they're like, hey, I have a scene with so many lights and it takes ages, I cannot render it, please do something. And then our GPU guys decided to experiment, and they came out with a really smart solution for that. It's a brand new lighting algorithm, it's developed by us in-house, we called it Adaptive Lights. And it's smart because V-Ray can define the most important light in the scene, the whole scene, and evaluate the lighting for a certain point for that, which will speed up the rendering quite a lot. There are already tests with 7, 10 times faster rendering and 11 times faster rendering. It depends on your scene, and having more lights means greater differences in the render time between full light evaluation, so when V-Ray will take in consideration all the lights in your scene, and when you have the adaptive lights method. And here I want to say it's very important, there won't be any differences in the quality, only in the render speed. So it's basically a win-win situation. And it works on the GPU and on the CPU. And here we have this scene kindly provided by Lemon's Bucket. It is inspired by Zaha Hadid's cultural center in Baku, and you can see I have here many lights. And using the full light evaluation on the right, on the left, and on the right, the adaptive lights method, you'll be able to see the difference. So almost 4 minutes in comparison with the full light evaluation, which rendered for 11 minutes. Alright, so resumable rendering. How many of you have heard about it and already use it? Alright, so the resumable rendering is there because at any time you can now stop the rendering and resume it from where you have stopped it. Why this can be helpful? Well, let's imagine that you're a freelancer, you're rendering already your final image, yeah, suddenly a job comes which is more important, and you're like, I need to stop this rendering, but I don't want to lose the already rendered information. So now this won't be a problem because you can, let's say, pause the rendering, stop it. You can even close Screen Studio Max, do whatever you want to do or you need to do for the other job, another task, and then you can open and continue with the rendering process. So this is handy for stills, but also really handy for animations. Because an animation, by the way, how many of you render animation here? Alright? So you really, you know that rendering an animation, we need a preview for that, so it gets approval. And the resumable rendering with the progressive image sampler will help us to render on top of the existing draft preview, which is quite awesome and will save us a lot of time. Here, a short example of that, progressive rendering set to 3 minutes, I think. Yeah, it's noisy, but it's totally enough for a preview. And then, with the resumable rendering, I can render on top of the existing animation and save time. And then I can save even more time with denoising it. All time optimizations here. Full light select. This is one of our latest features in V-Ray 3.6. How many of you actually already use it? Okay. So the full light select will give you the opportunity to relight your whole scene in the post, in Photoshop or in Nuke, without any need to pre-render it. So you can assign to light select render element a light, and in the render pass you're going to get the information of the full lighting contribution of this certain light, meaning not only the lighting pass, but also the GI, the reflection, refraction, etc. So when you combine them all together, you're going to get the RGB. And this is how it works. Basically, I need to create a couple of light selects, and I prefer to extract every single light on a separate light select render element. And here I'm adding the sun in this case, and this will be by default the mode to full. And after the rendering, I can see all the render elements in here, so I have all the lights on a separate render element. So then you can, of course, go and use Photoshop. In this case, I'm showing you this with Nuke. I can easily go and grade or color correct the different render elements, and this way I can easily create a couple of different lighting situations without any need to pre-render my image. And by the way, this thing worked quite a while ago, since version 3 for the GPU rendering, but it was kind of tricky to implement it on the CPU, but now it is also in here. Otherwise, on the GPU, it worked since version 3, so 3 years from now.
Sorry, Jana, but
yes.
In fact, the difference with the older version, because light select was even before present in V-Ray.
Yes, yes, exactly.
The full is, what's the difference with full
yes.
and...
I got your question. Thank you for that. So, before, on the CPU, adding a light to a light select render element was giving us only the lighting contribution, like the lighting pass. Now the full light select means all the information from a single light. So I'm not getting only the lighting contribution, but also the GIs will be there, the reflections, refractions, subsurface scatter, everything. You know? So when you combine all those lights together, you're going to get the RGB. This is the difference. All right, and then the Cryptomat. The Cryptomat is a plugin for Nuke and for Fusion. So here the question, how many of you use Nuke or Fusion? Okay, so really quickly, the cryptomat will allow us to get with one single render element masks for all our objects in our scene out of the box. So till now we had our multimat render element, but still it takes some time in order to create a bunch of multimat render elements and also assign the IDs, etc. So it's time-consuming process. And also having many companies, they have really heavy pipelines, and we figured out that they have up to 300 multimats in one single render, which is normal to slow down the rendering process. So Glauco decided to implement the cryptomat, which is one single render element giving you all this information. The sad thing here is that the plugin is available only for Nuke and for Fusion. So you can take advantage of it if you have Nuke or Fusion. But here is how this goes. I'm adding the cryptomate. It works for now only with the bucket rendering. This is also something I need to mention. And then I can create here as many alpha masks as I wish. So basically masks for free. And I can do the adjustments for the donkey, for the hair, or for specific parts. And plus, it works also really nice with depth of field effects and with motion blur. V-Ray GPU. After the break, after the lunch, we have dedicated presentations about the V-Ray GPU. But now I just want to mention a couple of things because, yeah, I think they are really cool and really new developments in our company. I told you yesterday that, and you already knew it, that V-Ray ships with two different rendering engines, CPU and GPU rendering. And both of them we have, yeah, they are different, and both of them have interactive rendering and production rendering. It depends what you're doing and which will fit for your needs. And yeah, many people are asking us, all right, you have GPU and CPU rendering. Why you don't combine them both? So yeah, we came out with the solution for that. It's called hybrid rendering, but it's only for people who have already a GPU pipeline. So basically, what you can do, we have translated the CUDA code, so the GPU code, so the CPU can read it and render using this CUDA code, so the results are going to be the same. So basically, our CPU will help our GPU to render the image and not the other way around. So yeah, the idea is actually to utilize your hardware in the best possible way. And this is here the example. If you have a powerful CPU, then you can also see some differences in the render times as well, like here in this case. Also, something new and cool is the NVLink support. You know that when you have two graphic cards, they have 4 gigabytes of memory. That makes not 8 gigabytes of memory together. You cannot share memory between the graphic cards. So, meaning that your scene needs to fit in those 4 gigabytes of memory. So now with the Pascal technology and with the NVLink, the GP100 can share memory. Yes, the graphic cards are pretty expensive now, but NVIDIA are promising that they are going to release also other cards which are going to support that. Meaning now, when you have one graphic card and another one, they are going to the GP100, they are going to share the memory. And here is the example of that, rendering only on one single graphic card. We have here a really heavy scene. There is not enough memory because we have a lot of proxies, we have a lot of geometry in here. But then, adding the second one, now I can render without any problems the whole scene because the both share memory. Yes?
Only NVIDIA o anche
NVIDIA, yes.
AT Radeon?
This is technology developed by NVIDIA. Yeah.
Only
Yes,
NVIDIA?
only
Ok.
NVIDIA.
Va bene. Il mio inglese fa schifo.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if you guys have tried the V-Ray benchmark. The V-Ray benchmark is also installed on the machines outside. But since we don't sell hardware, we sell software, and I'm getting all the time the question, what hardware to buy in order to use V-Ray? Well, now we have a solution or an answer for that. Try our benchmark and compare your results with many others and see the best hardware which works with V-Ray. This is how it looks. We have two different scenes for CPU and for GPU. There are two different scenes. So we are not comparing here GPU versus CPU. We are only comparing the hardware. That's also important. And here, this is how it looks like when you compare the results and for the CPU here. V-Ray for Nuke, since really few people use Nuke, I'm going to be quick on this. And by the way, Nuke, V-Ray for Nuke is the very first ray tracer inside a compositing program, which is a great achievement. And for V-Ray for Nuke, we have a free denoiser tool. So you don't need to buy V-Ray for Nuke in order to use the free denoiser tool. If you're interested in that, you can ask me how's that, so I can give you the link for that where you can download it. But here is how it looks like to denoise in Nuke. And the advantage of denoising in Nuke is that you can denoise also per render element, which is for now not possible in Max or in Maya. So here you can split your image into render passes and denoise the separate ones as you wish. By the way, this is here the icon for the CryptoMat plugin. Yeah. So you can render your image from Max and from Maya with V-Ray, with the needed render elements, and denoise it in Nuke with the free denoiser tool. So you don't need to have V-Ray for Nuke in order to use it. It's a free tool. Alright, then volume grid. This is something also huge for a compositing program. That you can do your simulations in Houdini or using Phoenix or FumeFX, and then you can load here OpenVDP files or FumeFX files and do the shading in here in Nuke. For that you need V-Ray for Nuke. Yeah, and you have actual volumetric effects inside of a compositing program, which is again quite cool. Yeah, we have released V-Ray for Nuke 3.6, so the CryptoMat is also available in V-Ray for Nuke. The light select is also available here. But since we don't have so many Nuke users, I'm going to jump to the next slides. And what is coming next? And this is again a huge thing because you know in Nuke that you need to wait this scanline renderer in order to see your image, your rendered image. And we are working on having the V-Ray RT into a compositing program. So progressive interactive rendering in a compositing program. It's a really huge thing. We are still into the development process of that, but for the next releases you are going to enjoy having it, which will speed up the work process quite a lot. And here you can see here progressive rendering on the CPU in Nuke. V-Ray for Houdini. So we are working on that as well. We are currently, I think, in private beta. So if you're interested, you can contact me. Are there some some Houdini users here?
No Houdini, no.
No Houdini. Okay. So yeah, we are working on V-Ray for Houdini. and I'm going to skip it. As I mentioned yesterday, we are working also in...
Sorry.
How many of you actually use Unreal? For what do you use it? For...
Unreal.
Yeah, for what? For which purpose?
artists.
Artist, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
Okay.
so before getting into V-Ray for Unreal, of course, we have done our research, and we found out that Unreal is used not only for games, it's used for architectural visualizations, and also, and yeah, so there is this customer demand that people are using Unreal also for VR experiences, for presentations, for live presentations. And VR is really good in architectural visualization, product design and automotive, so we thought why not to dig into it and see what's going to happen here. And the idea, and I showed you the video yesterday, the idea is to make this bridge easier between a 3D application and a game engine. So using the VR scene format, we can export the whole scene from 3D Studio Max, as you saw yesterday, with all the materials and the lights, and bring it into Unreal. And also from Unreal into a 3D program. So also, many people really like the V-Ray texture baking system, so we are using it here for light baking and for GI baking. And here you can see a list with the already existing features. We are currently in private beta, so again, if you're interested, you can come and talk to me. But for now, what I can say, it's built on top of the V-Ray app SDK. It allows import the V-Ray scene files into Unreal and rendering them. And also you can export those files. So yeah, we are working on that, and we hope to have public beta really soon. This is a render from 3D Studio Max, and then after the export in Unreal, you can see the similar results. And yeah, so what to expect next? Upcoming releases for this year are for V-Ray for SketchUp, really soon 3.6. 3.6 for Rhino, and we are also aiming a release of V-Ray for Revit.